FMLA is the Family Medical Leave Act, and it allows people to take time off without pay because of a serious illness or the illness of a loved one. Obviously, if you're struggling to work because of your disabilities, you very likely have a serious condition, which qualifies you. But there is another way FMLA could help. If your adult child or spouse has a qualifying FMLA job, they can take leave in order to help care for you while you are on leave or leave without pay or otherwise unable to work. This may give you access to a caregiver that helps speed your recovery. FMLA is a federal law, but some states have enacted their own version of FMLA, so be sure to check your HRO office and online. We'll talk about both these options, federal FMLA and similar state laws, coming up. Hi, I'm Michael Gilbert. I'm an attorney and a former ALJ with the Social Security Administration. Mandatory disclosure. These videos are for educational purposes only. This is not legal advice. Also, while I'm a retired ALJ, SSA does not sponsor or endorse anything I'm about to tell you about the inner workings of the disability bureaucracy. As we have discussed in other videos, if there is a way to prevent getting into the disability line, you should seriously consider it. FMLA is one of those options that, if used properly, may help you preserve your health so you can continue to work. Caution. This video is not intended to be a comprehensive discussion of FMLA. I'm going to cover wave tops that apply to those struggling to work because of their disabilities. FMLA is a federal law that provides eligible employees up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave in a 12-month period for certain family and medical reasons. Continuation of group health benefits, a return to work guarantee for the same or equivalent job, and protection from interference and retaliation for actually taking that FMLA leave. Please realize that some employers mandate that if you have leave on the books, it must be used as part of any FMLA until it is exhausted. Here are some categories of employers that must offer FMLA. Number one, all public employers. That's federal, state, and local government employers, regardless of size, must offer FMLA. Two, local education agencies, that's public school boards, public and private elementary and secondary schools, regardless of size, must offer FMLA. Third, private sector employers who have more than 50 employees. If your employer is not required to offer FMLA, you may still be eligible for state programs. We'll discuss state programs a bit later in this video, but let's assume your employer is required to offer FMLA. You still need to personally be eligible and qualify for it. You are an eligible employee if all of the following apply. Again, you work for a covered employer that I just mentioned. That's all public employees, education agencies, and private sector employers with more than 50 people. You have worked for your employer for at least 12 months. You have at least 1,250 hours of service for your employer during the 12 months before your leave. And if a private employer, your employer has at least 50 employees within 75 miles of your work location. Remember, if your situation does not give you coverage under FMLA, but your adult child or spouse's work does, they can take leave to help you because of your serious condition. FMLA expressly provides that it can be used to care for a parent or spouse. Now let's turn to those of you whose employer is not covered by FMLA and therefore is not required to offer it for you. Depending on where you live, there may be a state version of FMLA. In our earlier videos, we suggested you may want to think creatively about how to preserve your reservoir of resilience. Using FMLA to recharge before you crash can be a very effective strategy. You can even use it intermittently so that you can work fewer hours while you heal. You keep your job and you keep your benefits, such as your group medical insurance, which can be literally life-saving for many. The provision of FMLA that expressly protects you from retaliation is in place because Congress realized that preventing employees from taking leave when they need time to heal will only make them worse. FMLA can give you time and peace of mind, so you can get the medical treatment that you need, all the while reducing or eliminating stress and anxiety related to work. To use FMLA, follow these steps. Number 1, don't wait to find out if FMLA is an option for you. Find out now if you're eligible for FMLA leave. Since FMLA may be unpaid, you should begin planning now, just in case you need that break from work. If you're eligible, give your employer as much notice as you can of your intention to take FMLA leave. Number 3, if you're not eligible, consider whether a loved one who could assist you might be. Number 4, check your state law carefully, as many states offer much more robust FMLA type leave, many with paid leave and more generous leave allowances, more time off. Number 5, your employer may require you or your doctor to provide them with medical certification, so be prepared for that. Generally, the leave must be medically necessary. Let's wrap this up with an example. Remember, this is about protecting your health, and for that, you need to maintain your reservoir of resilience. Let's say you cannot work full-time because of worsening medical conditions, but perhaps you could sustain working part-time if there was any way to do that, while you and your doctor try different treatment options. In this scenario, you could take FMLA, heal, and then return to full-time work. With 12 weeks allowed per year, you could conceivably reduce your work hours to 1/2 time, or 20 hours per week. You then could take leave the remaining 20 hours because of your medical conditions. This may double your 12 weeks of full-time FMLA entitlement, extending your benefits to 24 weeks, or nearly 6 months. Without FMLA, you may have to quit the job and seek disability. This is exactly the type of creative solution that may save you from going into the disability line. FMLA expressly allows for solutions like this, and this flexibility can be a big help. In an earlier video, we noted that the creative use of leave, including FMLA, may be a reasonable accommodation. So check out the link in the description to that earlier video for more details. With FMLA, you still have your job, you still have the health plan, and you still have the guaranteed ability to return to full-time work, all so you can heal. Before we go, it's worth repeating a couple of important points. First, many states do offer FMLA equivalents, some with much more generous benefits and broader requirements for small businesses to offer and grant leave under the state version. Be sure to check out the links in the description. Second, and finally, don't forget that FMLA is unpaid leave. Unless your state has a paid program, you will need to budget for FMLA if you have no other leave on the books with your employer. Keep in mind, however, if your disability forces you to the point of quitting and you must then seek disability, you also will not have a paycheck. That's exactly the situation you're trying to avoid. All right, questions? Please put them down in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. Check out the description for the links to the DOL website that has a ton more information. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.